All right, YouTube, Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman. Okay, look, I had a couple of quick thoughts. Okay, Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, right? Or was it? Yeah, Klitschko Joshua. It's like a passing of the torch. Okay, are we gonna have that? Right? Are we gonna have another passing of the torch? Pacquiao passing the torch to the younger, hungry, prime Keith Thurman, or maybe a Marquez Alvarado. Remember, go back and watch Juan Manuel Marquez and Mike Alvarado. You had the older veteran versus like the younger dude in his prime, and he lost. Okay, so I don't know. What's going to happen? I kind of do know, but we'll save it for later. Okay. By the way, there is a rematch clause. So, I had a thought. What if it's like a draw, right? And I do believe if Manny loses, we're going to have a rematch, which wouldn't be a bad thing. As long as it's a good fight and it's worthy of a rematch. I mean, let's do it. I mean, we know Pacquiao is all about the rematch. I mean, look, Timothy Bradley, Morales, Marquez, right? Juan Manuel Marquez. I mean, so I wouldn't be surprised if you have a rematch, in December, whenever Pacquiao can fight again. But we'll see. Now, I thought it was a little bit interesting. I wanted to kind of throw it in the video. Okay, someone interviewing Keith Thurman, they said, "Who is your all-time favorite fighter?" Right? And I thought, well, obviously he's gonna pick, maybe a Muhammad Ali or a Tyson or, Sugar Ray Robinson, something like that. But it was Aaron Pryor, the Hawk. Aaron Pryor. Okay, that's his all-time favorite fighter. So I found that kind of interesting. But Thurman definitely not an Aaron Pryor, but he has the power, the youth, size advantage over Pacquiao, which that's what I'm a little bit worried about. Most of all is the size advantage. But we know, I mean, Pacquiao, he's a small welterweight, and he's always, I guess the smaller fighter. I can't remember when he wasn't the little guy in the ring. But, with age, it's just a matter of time before I think that's going to catch up with Manny, So that's my major concern right now is the power and the size advantage that Thurman has over him. But Pacquiao says, about being a small welterweight, he says, I've been fighting bigger welterweights, and he says, it doesn't matter. I beat them all. He's like, I beat them all. Line them up, I beat them all. Okay, so we'll see, right? Thurman says if Pacquiao wins, okay, if Thurman loses, he'll probably retire, and he probably should. He probably should. So, look, my first impression of the fight is, like I said in my other video, why is Keith Thurman fighting Pacquiao? But then he claims that this is a comeback year, right? The Thurman comeback year. So it kind of makes sense. I also noticed, like I said, the obvious, right? The size, the power, the height, the reach, all of that is in Thurman's favor. So he should win the fight. I mean, if you look at the stats, you look at everything on paper, he should win the fight. Okay, so, but we'll see. Now, just another quick thought. Okay, we basically have Keith Thurman in the same mindset as he was when he was, an active champion in his prime, 22 months ago, 23 months ago. He's basically acting like he's still on that level when in his last fight, says otherwise. Josito Lopez, it says otherwise. And then we have Manny Pacquiao, the veteran, tons of experience, and anything's possible when Pacquiao gets in the ring. And that's, to me, what's most intriguing about the fight. You don't know what either guy is going to bring, right? You just simply don't know. Will we get the Pacquiao that we had against Jeff Horn, right? Or maybe the Pacquiao we had against Broner or Matisse? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. We just really don't know which Pacquiao is going to step in the ring, So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. And I probably will order the pay-per-view, which I never do. Now, I was looking at Thurman's resume, right? Okay, look at the last time dude had a knockout. It was like 20, when was it? Let's see. He had Lopez, Garcia, Porter, Collazo, Robert Guerrero, Leonard Bundu, right? So, you look at all that. When was the last knockout, right? Soto Carras, TKO, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm now, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I'm looking at the record right here. And it looks like the last knockout was in 2014? 2013? Was it 2013? Damn. Okay, yeah, you got Soto Karass, TKO, and then, yeah, decision. Okay, so, yeah, Keith Thurman hasn't had a knockout in a long-ass time. But I thought he had a knockout after that. Could be wrong. By the way, remember that body shot from Collazo. Keep that in mind. You know, maybe Pacquiao's going to go to the body. We know Pacquiao's not like a devastating body puncher, but I think Keith Thurman, you know, claiming he's training at LA Fitness, he might be a little bit soft in the body. Okay, so we'll see. Now, I'm looking at Pacquiao. I mean, this record is incredible. Let me just run it by you just real quick. Okay, Morales, Barrera, Marquez, Diaz, De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Miguel Cotto, Claudio, Margarito, Juan Manuel Marquez, Timothy Bradley, Marquez, Rios, Bradley again, Chris Algieri, Mayweather, which I believe he won, Timothy Bradley, Vargas, Jeff Horn, Matisse, Broner, now Keith Thurman. I mean, it's just an incredible resume. So, you know, a couple of quick thoughts on the fight. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read you guys this article, which I really, really liked, okay? And it basically kind of sums up where we're at, okay? And usually I don't do this. I don't like to read articles online, but I'm going to read a little bit of it. So it says, it's easy to understand why they believe they can still fight when sometimes they can't, okay? What they're talking about, you know, he says in the article, basically, you know, is Pacquiao destined to suffer the fate of Muhammad Ali? You know, of Leonard and others, right? You know, I mean, even Hagler, you know, when he lost, okay? So, which very controversial, but whatever. And actually, I've talked about that before, the, you know, the Sugar Ray Leonard Hagler fight, you know. So, is Pacquiao destined to suffer that same fate? I mean, look at Mike Tyson, you know. So, right here it says, and it's easy to understand why they believe they can still fight when sometimes they can't, okay? Or at least not the way they used to. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves if they weren't training. Perhaps most important, they often can still make a good living even if they're on the decline. The downside is the result of fighting even one time too many can be a disturbing beating. From Ali, Leonard, De La Hoya to Hopkins, the examples are many. And it says, which brings us to Manny Pacquiao, the 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao, who is scheduled to fight the unbeaten 30-year-old Thurman on July 20th in Vegas. But the difference between Pacquiao and other great fighters nearing retirement is that he can still fight, okay? Big difference, okay? As he demonstrated by easily outpointing four-division title holder Adrian Broner, you know, this past January, right? He can beat all but a few of the top 147-pounders. The problem for Pacquiao, Thurman is one of those few who could lead him down the same ill-fated path of his great predecessors, okay? And this is true. This is why look, it's a dangerous fight for Manny Pacquiao, right? Thurman might be right when he said, you know, this week, he says, I'm going to do to Manny Pacquiao what Pacquiao did to Oscar De La Hoya. You know, is it possible? Maybe. You know, I'll talk more about it later. Now it says, plus, there are questions surrounding Thurman. Has he peaked, right? Has he already peaked? When he outpointed Sean Porter and Danny Garcia 2016-2017, establishing himself as an elite fighter, but then went down from injuries and away for 2 years. Okay, he looked so-so. He looked all right. He looked all right in the return against Josito Lopez in January, which he won by majority decision. Was Thurman's performance the result of ring rust, right? Or has the time away done more significant damage? Okay, so I'll stop it right there. It continues on and on and on, you know, but keep going. It was a boxing scene. If you guys want to read the article in its entirety, it's a really long article, but it's really, really good. It really, to me, it basically sums up the fight. Okay, because we don't know. We don't know what Pacquiao we're going to get. We don't know. Did Thurman peak already? Which I think he has. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, yes, I think he's going to look good. I think he's going to be prepared. I think he's coming to fight. But, you know, and also, you know, they call Thurman this elite fighter. Well, who has he fought? Because if you look at his biggest fights, he's always running. He's on his bike, you know, and he doesn't shine, right? I mean, when you have this elite world-class fighter, they show up in their big fights. You know, they take a risk. You know what I'm saying? Like they dare to be great. They challenge themselves, and I don't see Keith Thurman doing that. You know, in his biggest fights, it's safety first. Okay, it's almost like he wants to be Mayweather, and you know, I think we might look if he fights that way against Pacquiao, he will lose. Okay, if he doesn't come forward, he needs to be first. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to cut off the ring, apply pressure, all of that. If he doesn't do that, he's going to lose. Okay, so you know, we don't know. And like I said, go look at his biggest fights. Okay, any fight, the biggest fights he's ever been in, and he runs. Okay, he's either running or, you know, he's just too careful, you know, because it's like he's not fighting to win, he's fighting so he doesn't lose. Okay, there's a difference. And in boxing, that's what separates a good fighter from a great fighter, is if you're fighting to win or if you're fighting because you're scared to lose. Okay, like Mayweather, to me, he fought in a very scared manner. He was afraid to lose. Okay, when you have a Manny Pacquiao, they want to win. Right, and they want to win, and they'll take a risk, whatever. I mean, look at the Juan Manuel Marquez knockout. You know, I mean, Pacquiao was up on the cards, he was beating the shit out of him. Boom, he goes down. That's a great fighter compared to a safety first fighter. But you know, it's debatable which one is better. In my mind, I like aggression. I'm kind of like Freddie Roach. I like the aggressive, come forward, take a risk, knock them out. Okay, same problem I have with Triple G right now. You know, I think Triple G lost that pressure. He lost that killer instinct, you know, as Pacquiao calls it. So we don't know what we're going to get, but in my mind, I know it's going to be a good fight. I do know that. I mean, I can't wait. They just revealed the undercard too, which I think Sergey Lipinets is on it and a couple other guys, but I'll make another video and talk about the undercard. Pretty good undercard. I mean, it's worth the pay-per-view. I don't know the price yet, but hopefully it's a reasonably priced pay-per-view. Like I said, it's got a really good undercard. You know, of course, a great main event, and I think it's going to be on a little bit earlier. So, but anyway, let me end here. What I tried to say earlier, but I got a little bit sidetracked with Keith Thurman. You look at his best wins. I mean, who are they? Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, right? I mean, so does that qualify you as an elite world-class fighter to beat Danny Garcia and Sean Porter? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at Pacquiao in his prime and who he had to beat to be a world-class elite fighter, it's night and day. So in my mind, I don't care what anybody says, I think Garcia and Sean Porter they're overrated. They are B-level fighters that, you know, they've kind of been built up behind a network, right? You know, Showtime Sean Porter, right? We all know Showtime Sean Porter. I mean, Showtime was building him up like crazy, you know, so I think that, you know, because he beat them, they have a name, they have a network behind them, they've got money, you know, now he's an elite fighter. Okay, but here's my thing. If you're an elite fighter, you don't take 2 years off for no reason. You know, I understand he had the injuries and things like that, but there is no need to take that much time off. You know, I mean, he got married. He went out and like opened up a restaurant with his girl, his wife's dad or fiance's dad. I thought he was done. We all thought Keith Thurman just rode off into the sunset. And what happened? I'll tell you what happened is he ran out of money. He ran out of money. Now people claim Pacquiao, you know, he took the fight because he needed money, which is absolutely ridiculous. Pacquiao is worth tens of millions, maybe 100 million. Who knows? A lot of damn money. Okay, so if anyone took the fight for money, it would be Keith Thurman. So I'm probably going to leave it at that, guys. You know, I wanted to throw out a couple of quick thoughts on the fight. I'm I'm really, really excited about it, you know, so I could talk about it for days. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Is Pacquiao destined to suffer the same fate, you know, as his predecessors, or you know, is it 8 time versus 1 time, and Pacquiao's going to get the win? What do you think? Leave it below.